So I'm sort of torn about how much I should tell you about Supercutscene. It is a brutal edit of a much longer work, 90 pieces of flash fiction that are inspired by the fortune-telling ladies of Naples, who cabalistically will interpret your dreams into the lottery numbers that you must play to win that weekend's lottery tickets. So there are 90 lines in this poem, each referring back to, in a very long-winded and possibly opaque way, back to the subject of that particular dream. This is going to be the first time that this has hit the air publicly, so let's see how we go. And I'm kind of tempted just to go from there and see what happens. Supercutscene. Kind of kooky, right? But it sounds like fun. She was late, as it was her character note. So you've clapped your hands and stopped time. He was to take the train. A gift was to be delivered. A working knowledge of Catholic theology will also be useful. I rode into a giraffe gorilla. What made it all worthwhile was the way she shaped the plaster in her hands. But who should blow past me but Methuselah? He offered his teeth, his fingers, as methods to distract her again. The lenses, they were the size of dinner plates. A flicker of life. The moral was clear. He just wasn't sure whom it was directed to. You do not want to see the carrot shiver with relief. I've wanted to do it since I was a cub. Years later, people still wonder how the hurricane started. A feeling like a needle that's waiting for its thread. A sneeze, a bang, a smouldering. They floated above the pavement, high enough to thrill, low enough to avoid dishonour. And she sighed again. Whether I'm frayed by the work I after to do, whether I'm torn by the load I carry. I'm asserting the primacy of the hunter over his victuals, he told the interviewer before addressing the barbell. He saw the gold against the red and white of his vest. But still, the door handles gave women something else to fondle. Intrigued, and looking for an untraditional way to freshen up her wardrobe, she bought two. If I'd known she was into sweatband S&M, I might have said no. Do not be surprised if you see the three heads of three boars sipping glasses of Malmsey. I mean, you don't think that the mere presence of blood is enough to constitute being alive? It said, I heart tentacles. The message said, don't worry, I'm good at being sneaky, X. Some policemen swore later that the Stasi had trained ideologically committed kitties to infiltrate West Berlin. The couple exchanged glances, then moved closer so that they could peer in. The ashes settled into the silent, soft gloop. You are not leapfrog technology, they say to me. If your sleep consisted of beating your arms against an aquamarine, blankly threatening sky, your eyes empty, head permanently bowed, mouth aching, the cord cutting into your gums. The emissary from Folderol sparkled uselessly, prettily, and noiselessly. Like everything in life, you have to dig for it. Go. I will sing, and that will make you come back. She still liked being considered, despite the caveat emptors she wore on her hands. Congratulations, beamed God. You got the part. This is troubling, as she'd gone out on a limb on this case. Having my ankles as hip bones is novel, but I've been assured that I'll be going into the textbooks now. The blowtorch is also lying back on the floor, exhausted. You know that the river is dieting to a trickle. Congratulations, Dinah. That was your last ever rasher of bacon. Ever. He wondered why they kept being sent out like this, to preach like this. He was a boy with a white face who walked past me without making a sound. Big column in the middle, and I can see into all the other rooms. In his other hand, he brandished blessings of rosemary, the size of traffic lights. If the walls melted, the walls melted. No other methods he'd tried had jumped him out of it. The purpose of the system is what it wishes to be. That's it! Time to test your Bezol Yarish reflex! Some of us has not reappeared since the frosts and snow came. What I am saying is, get good at roulette. That's the only sure thing. He couldn't run the risk to his aura. You walked past, full of beans, as the cliche has it, in a pink gingham dress, before vaulting the telephone wires and landing on Piccadilly Circus, pulling Eros out of the ground and taking him with you. The trilby's angle meant that I couldn't see his eyes. 6. Flashbacks of a sort. Or maybe they are flash forwards. I'll call you. People wanted a saint. They just didn't want one that was better than them. He had given her some raspberry bubble bath. He had given her infinite time. He had given her a permanent winter. She exhaled, a gimlet look in her eye. A man who said he was the reincarnation of Phineas T. Barnum had attached a parasail to him. Audience don't want chat about time and probability and infinity. I steal stories, he replied. Only the best. Ones that move people. Still, it's only your congregation with permanent smiles. When she stayed up to hear him practice, coyly standing at the crack of the door, she was amazed at what the blur of his arms could coax out of a box with a hole, badly wrapped in nylon. And the mirrors leave the room. I did what all men do when faced with a problem. Retreated to my shed. You have always imagined a world without weather to be sunny. But this is false, because the very fact that there might be sunlight but no clouds is still weather, but just the sort you like. My surgeon tells me that he's got more absent-minded over the years. What was most pleasing was the way that the stitches started to unweave themselves. He had been told he would no longer be spotted in a well-lit urban environment. Sorry, Mac. That's just how things go sometimes. Sunglasses, the size of hubcaps. I stand here and wait for my eyes to fly away, my stomach to spin, my heart to leave this frame. Once, in the clinic, a woman had whispered, OAB, OAB. And I saw you dancing on it. I know. I'll sack the psycho-babbling fucker when I get out. Vroomf! The passport went down on the booth. Years later, he still woke up dreaming of the way she had winked at him. He liked most to speed his heart up. He would flick the knife downwards to jump-start the fluttering. Quick, quick, slow. Weak, weak, strong. But then, maybe, they all knew that I'd stolen all the luck in the world. And his chances of moving up had evaporated. At least the tires I was imprisoned in were snug. I believe I can fly, he crooned. He had stolen the voice he was from a child. I've been reading a lot of Robert Graves, he said, and he's worked out why there is so much disgrace in the world. The infantry began to raise the spread before them, their only duty, to be trenchermen. She could tell you how old he was without rummaging in his flattened pockets.